So this is a really old video that I created a long time ago, and you can see the format's a little different than the way I do it now. I don't do any kind of text over or anything over the videos. And I was going to get rid of all those little text bubbles, but I think it would have cut off a little too much of the video, some of the more interesting things that I was doing, especially later on. So I decided to just keep them and do my voiceover at the same time. So this is just kind of an experiment in abstract art for me. It's kind of an abstract representation of a map, and I love maps. I don't know why I do. I can't really explain it, but they're just fascinating to me. I think it's part of the historical value, the this idea of a city kind of forming over decades and centuries of new growth and rebuilding and different things, and then you kind of end up with this almost kind of final or present product, and that idea just kind of fascinates me, I guess. I think that's one reason why I like maps so much. But anyway, so this is just kind of, it's not any kind of real city or anything. It's just me just sketching away different ideas and representations of like a downtown city and kind of the branches that come off of it. I'm using charcoal and pencil at this point. And so right here I'm sealing it with an acrylic sealer so that when I add the paint, and I'm going to be using a lot of water as well, I didn't want it to smear, so I sealed it first. And the idea behind the black is to kind of have like a darker core where the essentially city is, and then colors kind of branching out from that. I'm using a mix of acrylic paint and India ink in this piece, and that first part that I added was acrylic paint. And I like the way that it kind of splits a little bit when you add water to it. And so you get little spots where the paint is thick, and then when you spritz it with the water, it kind of spreads and thins out in other areas. And I kind of like that splitting effect. But what I'm using now is India ink to kind of sketch over some of the pencil marks that I had made at the beginning to kind of draw them out a little bit more. Here comes the purple. I decided I was going to do lots of different shades of purple over the black. Purple and black is one of my favorite color combinations. And I really wanted to see how I could do with the color tapering off into that white negative space. It did take quite a while because I let it dry, sometimes not completely, but between each application I had to let it dry at least a little bit in certain areas, and so I had to keep pausing and coming back to it. I'm adding a little calligraphy to the lines at this point. Um, Nothing really legible, just kind of the imitation of text to give the idea of speech or language in the development of the city. Now, as a final touch, I'm adding texture paste through this stencil to give some kind of raised portions to the middle of the painting. At first, I was adding all through the stencil and then kind of trying to remove some of the squares where I didn't want them. But then I decided it would be a little easier to add tape to the stencil and do it that way. So I picked a few squares that I liked, sectioned them off so I could add them individually to the surface of the painting. Once the other texture paste that I had already added was dry, I was able to add a few more squares in different places. I had to do it in a few sections to let the texture paste dry, so I didn't smear it. Then after adding all the squares, I added some lines using the edge of a broken credit card. I'd love to hear your feedback on this video. I don't like having the text bubbles in addition to the voiceover, but if you like it, let me know. I'd love your feedback on that. I'm always looking for ways to improve the videos and make them more accessible. So if you guys have an opinion on that, if you'd like to see more text over the videos to kind of give a better idea of what's going on, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.